Welcome, Allison.
Thank you, Sabrina.
You're here. And it's so beautiful to be celebrating your book now after we talked last year, last spring,
Mhm.
and what's been born since then.
And so much has changed. And if you told me a year ago that I would be here, I wouldn't have believed you. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I'll just be reading it a bit out loud to Sean, and I'll just start completely wanting to cry. It's such beautiful language on top of the imagery, but just I was hoping that maybe you could read the introduction to the book to share it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. And I might cry too.
that's good. Crying is welcome here.
Exactly. All parts of us are
Yeah.
welcome. So, this is the introduction to Altars of Light. This is a gentle book. This is a book to hold you when you are weary, to celebrate with you when you feel expansive, and to comfort you when you feel fragile. Many of these pages are words I wrote to myself in difficult times when I needed to hear a voice of compassion. A silent presence lives within each of us, full of sacred witnessing, offering encouragement for our hearts to persevere in staying supple through all of life's convulsions. It is the voice of the water that mines the roots, the soil that mines the seed, and the pulsations of all elemental and living things to expand, tend, release, and rest. When I look without, I see a world that pulsates in waves. When I look within, I see this world reflected in each of us. These seasons hold the medicine for the wounds of busyness and disconnection that contribute to deeply rooted burnout, anxiety, and despair. It is the medicine of presence for the societal wounds that leave us homesick for our own wisdom and for the reassurance that we are linked to every other creature on this planet.
Mm.
When we honor it, this pattern unrolls around us in an ever unfurling invisible spiral, a blueprint for living, ways of being, raising families, creative projects, and all forms of work. The pull and roll, the crest and collapse, the way all movement builds on what came before. It is this rhythm that drives all of the natural world forward. It is in every breath we take. Every inhale and every exhale confirms our belonging to the great cyclical rhythms of this world. This kinship is a life raft, a fundamental evidence against the inner myths of isolation and cynicism. When I refuse to rest or when I cling to old, dehydrated mental narratives, the wheel grinds to a halt. I exhaust myself. I despair. I feel lonesome in my disconnection. But when I operate within this sacred cycle, I can sense a great song running underneath the skin of all life. And I know that song is also in me. I perceive this world as alive and every living thing belonging intimately to a network of invisible light. We too belong to this web. It vibrates all around us, holding us when we are joyful, when we are afraid, when we feel tender, and when we feel lost. The gift of being human is to listen and to receive the song transmitted through this wordless language in which every creature is fluent.
Mhm.
All beings are given to each other, each of us precious, essential, and interlinked. It is the way of this world for all things to lean on one another. I am deeply grateful for the medicine your presence brings into this world each day.
So beautiful. How does it feel to read that?
Just very centering.
Yeah.
And there are always parts that come up when I read my own work
Mm-hmm.
that give a little like butterfly in the stomach kind of sensation, but just it's like the yes. the vibration, the field of yes. When
Yeah.
you feel it in your body and you feel it inside you, and just this sense of deep gratitude.
Mm.
Mm.
Do you think that there was a turning point in your journey if you were to tell you maybe I guess if you were to tell somebody who's has a book in them, feels a book in them, and they like for you, you've been wanting to, didn't you say you've been wanting to do it for 10 years or tried a couple of different times?
19 years.
19 years.
Yeah, 19 years. I've tried 3 different times. And honestly, it wasn't until I took your course, I took the Liberate course, that I felt like I had the scaffold to be
Mm.
able to flesh out what it was that I wanted to say. And that was invaluable, just invaluable to be able to do.
What aspect of the course do you think was helped you with the scaffolding the most?
I did not go into the course with an art background. So I did not go in with a formal background. I hadn't gone to art school, and I wasn't really a painter in the way that, or an artist in the way that I define myself by what other people could put
Mhm.
out. But the course it just supported whatever unique vision everybody had.
Mhm.
It wasn't for anybody who was in a niche. It was for anybody who wanted to communicate a book, who felt like they had something in them that they wanted to give to the world.
Mhm.
And in your process of sharing how you went through Spilling Open and Brave on the Rocks and Messy Thrilling Life and all of your books, and how you created something in a way that had structure,
Mhm.
but also had so much space,
Mhm.
was really helpful for me in figuring out how to navigate what a book that I created would look like.
Mhm. I think that you've said that really beautifully. Like it's not about teaching a certain way that something just visually is going to look, but it was really helping the structure, the spine of the books
Mhm.
for whatever the book that needs to come through for each individual person, but having
Mhm.
that finding the soul of the book for each person.
Oh, I love that. That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so dead on, finding the soul of the book. And it's once you have that, then you once you have that and you have that sense, which you did such a great job in helping us define, then everything just can happen outside of that.
Mhm.
There's this expansiveness that can happen when you get really deep into the core of what it is that you want to say. One thing that I found extraordinary in the process and that I learned from you is how to take what you're already doing and how to crystallize it and get into the marrow of what your own style is,
Mhm.
what it is that you have to say, and not to be influenced but by what else is going on in the art world, but to really to simplify and to get real intimate with your own voice.
Mm.
And that is something that I have a lot of gratitude to you and to everyone in the Liberate community for, because I didn't necessarily have that before I started that course.
What did that kind of look like for you?
It was like taking things away, right?
Yeah.
So the more I took away, the more I realized that I had. It's like when you're writing poetry, or when I'm writing poetry, what I start with a lot of words. But then I go through and I think, is this word essential? Does it get to the meat of what I want to say? And so for me, it's so interesting because creating this book, it was a process of adding in, but it was also a process of taking away, in
Yes.
terms of like, okay, so like this is going to sound like such a crazy analogy, but I hope that it's received Wow. But I think of like the artist Michelangelo, right? The way he worked was that he saw the vision in the marble. His only job, as he thought it was to be, was to remove the excess so that what he saw in there could come out. And I'd never thought about creating, a product or a book, or I've never thought about creativity in that way, about what if it's about just bringing the essence of what's already there to the
I love
surface.
So true. It's so true. It's such an editorial process like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just, yeah. I don't have the word. I don't want to get too much away of. It's hard to get. I wish we kind of could hold up different spreads of yours and show examples of, because it was like pulling away, just simplifying
of our process together.
Mm-hmm.
You're exactly right, because that's one thing that you really drove home for me, was that it's okay. It's okay to let go. It's okay to have really simple spreads.
Yes.
And there's an elegance to that. And you're exactly right.
Can you show me a few of your favorite spreads? I'll show you a few of mine.
Sure. So it's funny because I have favorites for the way they look, and I have favorites for the words that are there, and they're not necessarily the same thing. I love this one.
Yes.
This one is one of my all-time
What does it say on it?
It says, "Seek the restful corners of the earth." And I actually have this, I have the image on the left. I printed it out and framed it and put it in my office.
Oh, it'd be beautiful prints.
Let me see.
I love this one.
Oh, I love that one too. Oh. Those who wear the moon are never lonely.
Those who wear the moon are never lonely.
Mm-hmm. I love this. Yeah. Because this one, I just have a deep appreciation for the time that I was out walking and I found this beautiful moth on the ground, and it was just, and I had to carry it home a mile in my hands. So I love the feeling that I remember of just being so grateful and honored and knowing exactly how this was going to fit in. I think this one is one of my all-time faves. Oh yeah, that's just magic. Then it was so simple, a dandelion, and the sunlight hit it the right way, and suddenly there were like 30 rainbows in there. And that was near the end of the book too, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it, near the end of the process. Yeah. Yeah. I kept seeing you posting new pictures, and I just would be like, "Oh, dude, woo! This is exciting." It was really exciting. It was really exciting. Yeah. I really appreciate your time, Allison, and just celebrate you so much, and just the gift this book is in the world, and it will go. It's so timeless. It's so elegant and timeless. But I look forward to it's unfolding too, because I can see these being beautiful prints for people to have, and there's lots this book wants to become. Thank you so much. I have just so much gratitude to you and all the Liberate community, and this wouldn't have happened without you and without them. And I'm just so grateful. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm excited for the future. Yeah. Excited for the new people too coming in. All the new books that will be, I think of it as like you started a wave, right? And all these beautiful new books are going to just be like flowing into the world because of the work that you've done in making that possible for people.
Thank you. I would love you to be a guest on one of the sessions. It'd be neat for people to.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm totally there. Yeah. Just let me know when and what you'd like me to talk about, and I'm 100% there. That would be so much fun.
Yeah, be really inspiring for people, I think.
I'd love that.
Okay, let's do
I'm
it.
totally there. Okay, it's gonna
Okay, bye,
happen.
sweetie.
All right. Bye, Sabrina.
Bye.